One of the things we've attempted to do over the previous versions of Boxcutter is offer an alternative way to perform the extrusion operation. Under the behavior panel, you can go under input, and there's an option for alternative extrude where you can disable alternative extrude from occurring in the event you want things to continue behaving like classic. But if we turn on grid and we press D to switch over to circle, we can bring out a view grid by pressing control off of the mesh, and by starting here we can just draw our circle aligned with view and not with the surface, and then we begin moving the mouse. We can begin extruding according to the amount that we're moving the mouse, and we can see the extrusion amount being displayed at the bottom. And we can even bring in another grid aligned to the center and just move and continue performing these extrusion operations just aligned to view without having to worry about anything when it comes to rotating the view or getting a perfect position. We're able to just continue working in this particular area without having to give any consideration to the surrounding area. And of course, performing a laser cut is nothing when it comes to Boxcutter. That's something that's always been able to do. However, the ability to perform a view-based extrusion like you're seeing here is something that is still fairly new, and we're still in the process of getting refined to perfection. Sometimes the system can get in the way. For example, if I press D and I switch over to box, if we begin drawing a box, we can see that moving the mouse down moves the extrusion down, but if I move the mouse to the left, the extrusion continues to go down. If I move it to the right, it continues to go down. And if I move it up, it continues to go down. And this is because it requires that you put the mouse cursor specifically near the origin of the extrusion start in order to reset the extrusion back to 0. And this can be something a little bit daunting to new users, and for that reason, tapping Alt will actually revert the extrusion system back to the previous way so that users can easily take their extrusion back to 0 and constrain their extrusion operation back to a simple up-down maneuver. So this is something we still aim to resolve and have even better in future updates, where Extrude System B will possibly only show up in the event of certain view vectors being aligned perfectly head-on versus surface being something where you're looking at it from a corner, and it's definitely obvious that Extrude System A would preferably be used in this situation. But this is something that we'll continue to be working on over subsequent versions of Boxcutter, but just letting you know that improvements have been made in this regard for this particular update to make view extrusion as easy to toggle between as possible. And you can just press Alt to jump back between System A, and you can even tap Alt again to switch back to System B in the event that you miss it and want to just control the amount of extrusion that you're doing by the distance that you're moving your mouse.